What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about Red Dead Redemption 3. And I know what you guys are thinking, you are 6 years too late. I don't care, I just played this game for the first time a few months ago and I'm still so obsessed with it. I've seen so many theories online about what Red Dead Redemption 3 could really be about, and I've seen some really good theories and I've seen some really bad theories. We're going to be talking about the top 7 theories that Red Dead Redemption 3 could really be about. We're going to be talking about theories that are either prequels or sequels, how it would work, and how Rockstar could implement it into the story. Before we get into the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more gaming videos and live streams. Now let's start off with theory number 7. Yes, I'm gonna start with Red Dead Revolver and Red Harlow because it just makes sense. Think about it, if we go forward as a sequel after Red Dead Redemption 2, then it wouldn't even be in the Wild West. But Red Harlow was literally set in the 1880s, which is in the middle of the American frontier, aka the Wild West. And let's be real, people are saying, why would you go back to an old game? But have you played Red Dead Revolver? Has your mum played it? Your dad played it? No. You know, some people don't even know about Red Dead Revolver. However, I do get the idea that people just want something new. They don't want to see the same characters. They don't want to see something already shown. But at the same time, some people would want Red Dead Revolver to be remade because look at the graphics. It's not the best. And I know the graphics, people don't want to complain about graphics all the time. But I'm one of those players. I like good graphics. However, in terms of storyline and actual story, then I think, you know, Red Dead Revolver would be a good idea because we get to see the Wild West at its peak and not when it was dying like we saw in Red Dead 2 and Red Dead 1. And I reckon if Rockstar did revisit this, they would just add so much more to the story, make it so much better. And you know, in Red Dead Revolver we did see things like multi-characters that we saw in GTA 5, and maybe they could bring it back and make it even more interesting. And you know, they did such a good job with Red Dead Redemption 2. I don't think they would make us wait 10 years just to flop hard on Red Dead 3. This idea is like Marmite, you either love it or you absolutely hate it, like there is no in between. But what do you guys think? I did put this at number 7 because I do think there are much better theories that we can talk about and ideas that people are just more excited for. So moving on to number 6. Here we're assuming that Rockstar is going to follow a sequel that follows closely to the timeline of the Vandalin gang. What if Red Dead Redemption 3 followed the lives of either Sadie Adler or Charles Smith? Both characters survived the events of Red Dead Redemption 2 and their stories are ripe for exploration. While it's not my favorite theory, it's definitely worth exploring. And with some creative storytelling, I reckon Rockstar could make it work. Sadie in particular seems like the perfect candidate for a redemption arc. After the tragic loss of her husband, she hardened into a fearless bounty hunter. While Charles already embodies good morals, Sadie's grittier and darker storyline could align better with the themes of redemption. It would make sense for Sadie to be the main protagonist because she was a fan favorite and she was ruthless, and all we know by the end of the epilogue is that she was a full-time bounty hunter. We didn't see in Red Dead 1 how she reacted to visiting John's ranch again and finding out what really happened. Obviously, I know she wasn't developed as a character when we had Red Dead Redemption 1, but still it leaves a lot of room for storyline and gameplay to be developed. While she's not as cold-blooded as Arthur or Micah, her arc shows that she's definitely capable of walking a darker path. Now imagine this, Sadie returns to find out John Marston has been killed. That tragedy could send her spiraling into a quest for vengeance, pushing her deeper into the life of a bounty hunter. A storyline set in South America, exploring her hunt for justice or redemption, could provide a fresh, gritty angle for Red Dead Redemption 3. On the other hand, we have Charles Smith. By the end of Red Dead Redemption 2, Charles Smith moves to Canada and lives a quiet life close to Arthur's ideals. While Charles' moral compass and gentle nature make him an admirable character, they might not lend themselves to the darker, morally ambiguous themes of a typical Red Dead protagonist. For Charles to fit into Red Dead Redemption 3, something drastic has to happen. Perhaps a betrayal or a loss so profound, it breaks his spirit and sends him down a darker path. But in my opinion, Charles' story doesn't have the dramatic potential like Sadie's. While this theory isn't at the top of my list, I think it could be a potential, and there's a lot of people who speculate about this, so maybe fans could be interested in playing this. However, there's one catch. By the end of Red Dead Redemption 1, the Wild West was already a thing of the past, so how could Rockstar make a sequel that is a Western adventure while the Wild West was already in its history? But what do you guys think? Coming in at number 5, we have Lyle Morgan, none other than Arthur Morgan's father. Here we're going to assume that Rockstar is going to follow a prequel, just like they did with Red Dead Redemption 2, following on from Red Dead Redemption 1. This could be an engaging prequel into the very early years of Arthur Morgan and how Lyle Morgan shaped his life. Lyle Morgan's story fits perfectly into this timeline. Born into the rise of the Wild West, Lyle's life as a petty criminal and outlaw aligns with the chaotic backdrop of the era. So what do we know about Lyle so far? Well, he wasn't exactly a model father. He was abusive, involved in petty crimes, and eventually arrested for larceny in 1874. Sometime after, he died right in front of the young Arthur. Arthur himself didn't really hold his father to a high regard, calling him a no-good bastard and even writing in his journal that Lyle's death weren't soon enough.
How is your father? He's dead a long time. He lived a lot longer than was good for any of us.
Despite this, Arthur kept a picture of his father and wore Lyle's hat, suggesting their relationship, while strained, wasn't entirely devoid of significance. So, a game centered on Lyle could dive into his journey as a criminal during the rise of the Wild West, and the harsh realities of the time could create a rich narrative. It would be fascinating to explore the lawless frontier through the lens of a man trying and failing to find his place in it. There are quite a few people who think that it could be potential for the next Red Dead series, but what do you guys think? Moving on to theory number 4. At number 4, we have Jack Marston. Again, it's going to be a sequel following on from Red Dead Redemption 1. Jack's story would pick up after the events of Red Dead Redemption 1, where we saw him avenge his father by taking down Edgar Ross and cementing his place as a gunslinger. Again, by the time of Red Dead Redemption 3, the Wild West was already a thing of the past, so how could Rockstar make this work? So one way he could do it is obviously incorporating Sadie Adler into the story as a side character. Her bounty hunting career could intertwine with Jack's journey, pulling him into thrilling and dangerous escapades. This story could even take us south of the border into Mexico, exploring untapped locations and conflicts that fit Jack's gunslinger persona. What makes Jack's story so compelling is the internal struggle he'd face. Living in the shadow of John Marston, Jack would have to wrestle with his father's legacy while trying to carve out his own path. Does he fully embrace the outlaw life, or does he try to escape it? This personal conflict could bring depth into his character and resonate with players who love the complex arcs of Arthur and John. While this theory would require departure from the traditional Western vibe of the Red Dead series, it's an intriguing idea that can showcase something fresh and new. But what do you guys think? Now, the next 3 theories are definitely my favorite, so if Rockstar went with any of these 3, I'd be happy to play the game, whichever one that they choose. And at number 3, we have Red Dead Revenge, completely breaking away from the Van der Linde gang, but it is a prequel. So it does go a bit further back in time, and the reason I think that this is good is because it follows the exact timeline of history. Now, let me explain. Some fans speculate that the story of Dutch's gang has run its course with no more prequels or sequels to explore, and honestly, I can see that happening. The key to this theory is sticking to the heart of what makes Red Dead Redemption so captivating: the cowboy lifestyle and the rugged Western world. To keep that essence alive, this storyline would need to take place before the events of the Van der Linde gang, diving deep into the untamed Wild West. Here's where it gets interesting. A popular Reddit comment suggests starting the game during the American Civil War. The Civil War spanned from 1861 to 1865. The Wild West began in 1865, making this setting a perfect fit. Our protagonist is a soldier betrayed by his comrades, setting him on a path of vengeance that takes him into the Wild West. Rockstar could craft a gripping tale of betrayal, survival, and revenge, blending historical drama with the chaos of frontier life. Over time, he becomes an outlaw, a gunslinger, a cowboy, carving a path of revenge and survival in an unforgiving manner. Just a little warning, we're going to go into a bit of a spoiler for GTA 4, so skip to this timestamp if you want to avoid that. What's exciting about this idea of Red Dead Revenge is that Rockstar has already proven they can pull this kind of narrative off. Think of Niko Bellic from GTA 4, a man with a dark past, haunted by betrayal and seeking a new life while grappling with his own moral code. Niko Bellic went from a war in his home country to America to seek revenge on those who betrayed him during the war. So, of course, Rockstar could then do the same kind of concept with the next Red Dead series. So, imagine that kind of storytelling in a Western setting with the added complexities of revenge, honor, and the harsh realities of the Wild West. This is easily one of my favorite theories. It's a chance for Rockstar to create a completely new story with completely new characters and staying true to the theme of the Red Dead series. But what do you guys think? Do you think Red Dead Revenge going from the American Civil War into the Wild West would be a good idea? Let me know in the comments. Moving on to the next theory. Coming in at number 2 is the infamous gunslinger herself, Black Belle. Even Arthur was impressed by her. Black Belle was so impressive to Arthur Morgan that after he met her, he wrote in his journal about her. He said, "Black Belle, what a woman. If she was younger and I was in the market for a woman to go killing with, what a pair we could have made." And I couldn't agree more. Black Belle was briefly introduced in Red Dead Redemption 2 during the mission The Noblest of Men and a Woman. She stood out from the other gunslingers Arthur encountered, most of whom had devolved into lowlives. Belle, on the other hand, was competent, sharp, and willing to speak to Arthur, which shows her potential as a strong protagonist for Red Dead Redemption 3. Imagine diving into her younger years as a key member of a new gang, the Coulter Tobin gang, facing the law, rival gangs, and the harsh realities of the frontier. Her larger-than-life reputation could easily carry an entire game, exploring her rise to infamy and her battles to stay one step ahead of the law. As a real historical figure, Belle Starr, she is a notorious gunslinger and someone who truly embodies the essence of the Wild West. This theory revolves around a prequel that explores Belle Starr's younger years as an outlaw, gang member, and gunslinger during the Wild West era. What makes this idea even more compelling is the rich storytelling potential. Rockstar could loosely base the game on her real-life exploits while adding thrilling, fictional events to keep players hooked. From her 6 husbands, none of whom she divorced, to her life as a fugitive, the narrative possibilities are endless. Black Belle was no stranger to violence and had a cold-blooded streak, giving Rockstar plenty of space to explore a redemption arc. And let's not forget the other gunslingers that Arthur encountered during that mission. Characters like Billy Midnight, Emmett Granger, Flaco Hernandez, and Slim Grant could play crucial roles in Belle's story, either as allies or adversaries. The game could also delve into the dynamics of her gang and her struggles to maintain loyalty and order in a chaotic, lawless world. Rockstar could even create a multi-character narrative like they did in GTA 5. This theory has everything: a rich historical backdrop, a compelling protagonist, and the potential for incredible gameplay. The potential for high-stakes shootouts, daring escapes, and larger-than-life personalities make this theory one of the most exciting. A Black Belle-focused Red Dead Redemption 3 would not only expand the Red Dead universe, but also offers fans a completely fresh take on the Western genre. Could this be a redemption story that we didn't know we needed? Finally, at number 1, my personal favorite, and I know you guys really think this one is going to come true, is the Mac and Davey Callander theory. This would be a prequel that takes us into the roots of the Van der Linde gang, giving fans the chance to experience the gang's earlier, more cohesive days. These 2 enigmatic characters were brought up several times throughout the Red Dead Redemption 2 series, but this story remains untold. How did they join the gang, and what role did they play in the infamous Blackwater Massacre? A game centered on Mac and Davey could finally answer these questions while giving us insight into the dynamics of the gang before everything began to fall apart. In Red Dead Redemption 2, the Blackwater Massacre was a pivotal event, teased throughout the game and heavily influencing the gang's downfall. Fans have long wanted to see how this tragedy unfolded, and a Red Dead Redemption 3 focused on Mac and Davey could be the perfect way to deliver that story. Not only would it dive into their roles during this infamous event, but it could also show us how key figures like Micah joined the gang, adding new layers to a character that we thought we already understood. Now, Mac in particular seems like a perfect protagonist. Arthur, Hosea, and Bill all spoke fondly of him, showing how much he was missed. At the same time, Lenny and Charles disliked him, hinting at the duality of his character. Described as a vicious pair of bastards, Mac and Davey were rough, violent, and unapologetic. But how would Rockstar add a redemption arc to characters whose endings are already known? We never really knew what happened with Mac between the Blackwater Massacre and his death. This gives Rockstar space to fill in the gap with possible redemptions and other storylines we didn't see in Red Dead Redemption 2. Another interesting element that Rockstar could implement is again their multi-character narrative like they did in GTA 5. Maybe we could play as Mac, Davey, even Hosea, and Dutch. And that could be the ultimate Red Dead Redemption experience. It's brutal, it's tragic, and it's exactly the kind of story that Rockstar could again craft into a masterpiece. But what do you guys think? Could this be a story that fans were waiting for? There you have it, our countdown from the top 6 theories that Red Dead Redemption 3 could be about. Which of these storylines would you like to see? Comment down below if we've missed any of your favorite theories. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more gaming content. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next story. Bye!